Yo! What the fuck? Yo, log in, dude. Yo, what the fuck? Hey, did you take it? Hi everyone. So today I'm here to talk about a new secret build, okay, called a champion BONESHATTER of complex trauma. Right, so let me give you some brief context about this build. So I made this build specifically for a Badger Potent League, which is about 1 month ago, right? So Badger Potent League, known as BPL, is a race event between 3 teams this time, and each team has ascendancies restrictions. It's a 3-day event, kind of like a guild self-found, right, or GSF, right? And then during the event, you have to chase after personal goals and team goals, right? So for myself, I just did mapping, right? Basically, I'm do mapping and then I farm for currencies and uniques, and help other people with their lab completion when someone asks in the chat. Right, so for BPL, right, in my team there were several restrictions, right? So I want to do BONESHATTER build, right? So I had 2 choices for ascendancy, right? Either I was gonna go for champion or juggernaut, right? So I chose champion, and then I crafted this build, hoping that it works. Right, and no one else in the BPL did a BONESHATTER champ except for me.
BONESHATTER needs a nerf. The fact that BONESHATTER is better than every, like, I mean, because people don't know it, because POB doesn't show it, but it is better than every single bleed ability in the game. And why didn't we get BONESHATTER nerf? Why isn't there a BONESHATTER nerf? I'm pissed off. I'm pissed off that there was no BONESHATTER nerf. Like, BONESHATTER should be nerfed.
Right, so everyone else that was playing BONESHATTER was playing on Jock. Right, I didn't want to play Jock because it doesn't have. Well, I'll go on to reasons more later on. Right, but I really didn't want to play Jock at all. Okay. Right, so at the end of on the 3rd day itself, right, so I had insane big tick DPS of 1 million plus DPS, right, and also insane headhunter card drops because I could run Delirium T60 maps, which means the build is actually tanky, right? And then from what I recall, right, I farmed at the end of the day 3, I have about 100 plus chaos orbs and about 3 or 4 divine orbs as well, right? So it was actually quite insane, right? These are just in form, like pure currency form, right? And like if you take into account all the uniques that I gave away and stuff like that, it would have been way more than like just a raw currency, right? So I was practically also printing out the currencies and scarabs, both currency and scarabs, which could be comparable to people who were running highs, right? Could be comparable to like people running highs. Right, so let's get on to some of the pros of this build, right? So one of the biggest pro of this build is that you're always fortified, right? Slayer and Jug is not always fortified, right? And you don't need to have the 45 passive wheel or the 45 gem, which means you could fit in more damage, right? A bit more damage, right? And stuff like, you know, blue pack, some of the blue packs have this overwhelm physical damage reduction, right? They can't really off-screen you because your fortifying is never down, right? So sometimes I've had this issue on like both Slayer and Jug, right? If the attack speed is crazy high on the map, and then like, but before you even leap slam onto the pack of mobs, this blue pack could like overwhelm your PDR and then you die. In the case which, let's say, on top of that, like there's shorter duration on which then decreases your 45 duration and stuff like that. Shit like that can happen, right? And then that could kill you. Right. Another thing is that it has higher damage than Jug, right? So Jug suffers from significant early game damage loss, right? We are not talking about late game where Jug could like build insane defenses and could have like insane melee uptime and shit like that. But you have to keep in mind that this is only just a 3-day BPL event, right? So this needs to be a really good league starter, right? Where you have insane amount of power spike at least by the 3rd day, right? And I don't see myself, I'm not a blaster, right? I'm not gonna be able to blast like crazy, right? And so I probably wouldn't have like insane loot by the 3rd day and then shit like that. I'm just an average Joe, right? Yeah, so I couldn't handle like the lack of damage from Jug, and then when you actually don't have enough damage, there is one problem that Jug sometimes suffer from if you don't have enough damage, is that when you leap slam into packs, right, sometimes they don't get stunned because the damage is not high enough, right? So this is a defensive mechanic because you need to stun the mobs or else you die. Okay, melee is better in that sense that if the mob does not get stunned, you die, right? That's for melee. And of course this build has its own cons as well, right? But let's continue talking about the pros first. So another pro is the perseverance belt scales, right? So you can scale your damage based on armor and evasion, right? So this is very unique to just champion alone. Slayer and Jug can't do this, right? And this is because you get this 1% increased attack damage per 200 of the lowest armor or evasion rating, right? So you ideally want to run both your armor and evasion aura, right, which would increase both armor and evasion on you, right? So this is very defensive, and while building into defenses, it also increases your damage. And on top of that, you get full onslaught uptime because whenever you have constant 45, right, which means you're gonna have full uptime on onslaught as well. So one of the biggest con of this BONESHATTER champ, right, is that both Slayer and Jug has ascendancy nodes for accuracy, right? So your Jug has this accuracy which just gives flat accuracy plus you have additional accuracy based on the strength you have. And then for Slayer you have 50% global increased accuracy, right? And I've tried this even with your free banner and buffs to your aura, because champion on the right side of your ascendancy you have this thing that increases non-curse aura effect, right? So even with that, right, and on top of that you get free banner, right? So both banner and precision is still not enough accuracy, right? Because maps sometimes have like this dog shit modifier where you get decreased accuracy, or like the other curse effect, enfeeble, right? Enfeeble decreases both your damage and accuracy, and then you need to have precise technique, right? And then all of this will affect precise technique, which if without precise technique you're not gonna get damage and shit like that, right? And then sometimes you can get blinded, and then when you get blinded your evasion drops, which means your damage drops, and then as well as your accuracy also drops when you're blinded, right? Which also means that precise technique is gonna get affected by it. So this is one of the biggest con of champion, right? So but overall for these 3 days, it was really amazing. With this build I had a real fun time blasting with this build, right? And I was quite happy that the build actually kind of worked out, so it wasn't too bad, right? I'll put a link to the POB right down in the description below if you want to check it out. Maybe it will still work for the next league. We'll have to see, and then we'll see how it goes. And of course, I'll also put links down to this Badger Potent league as well, BPL, right? If you want to check it out. All right, thank you very much. That will be all. Bye bye.